I love baseball.
He struck him out! Ohtani strikes out Trout, and Japan's
Well, actually, baseball's okay, but what I actually love are baseball movies. Many of them I consider to be my own personal comfort movies. There's something so profound about taking a 3-hour-long sport with a 162-game season and dramatizing the shit out of it. Like, these teams are playing for the majority of the year, most of the time from April to October. The athletes are playing day in and day out for years upon years and years. Of course, there are going to be stories to talk about, and better yet, stories to make movies about. From even as recent as a few years ago with like the Houston Astros. For those unfamiliar, there was a cheating scandal where they were stealing the catcher's signs, so basically they would know what the pitcher was going to throw. And they more or less got away with it. They got a little slap on the wrist, but nothing says America's pastime like cheating the system and still winning it all. But situations like the Houston Astros bring to light some of the more unnoticed intricacies of the game of baseball that the average viewer doesn't normally think about. Something as small as knowing what pitch is coming can change the outcome of an entire season. That's why baseball movies are so interesting to me. They can show audiences parts of baseball that we'd never really get to see otherwise. These movies have shown the scouting process, the front office and management, and most importantly, the players. Focusing stories around players allows for the audience to better connect with the film. You can still connect with the guy playing first base even if you don't like baseball. But these movies also use baseball as a stepping stone to explore deeper themes and issues, which is why I want to talk about the best baseball movie ever made. Obviously starring Kevin Costner, Bull Durham.
I don't believe in quantum physics when it comes to matters of the heart.
What do you believe in then?
Well, I believe in the soul. The cock, the pussy, the small of a woman's back, the hanging curveball, high fiber, good scotch, that the novels of Susan Sontag are self-indulgent, overrated crap. I believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I believe there ought to be a constitutional amendment outlawing AstroTurf and the designated hitter. I believe in the sweet spot, softcore pornography, opening your presents Christmas morning rather than Christmas Eve, and I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days. Good night.
Oh, my.
Bull Durham is a heartfelt comedy romance movie from the late 1980s, starring Kevin Costner as Crash, a veteran catcher that has been around the minor leagues for years. It also stars a pre-Shawshank Tim Robbins as Nuke, a hotshot pitcher that is destined for great things if he can just get out of his own way, and the beautiful Susan Sarandon as Annie, who completes this love triangle. The romance was the main selling point of this movie for all the promotional material, but for me, the main takeaway was the relationship between Crash and Nuke, and also just how damn funny the movie is.
Excuse me, what the hell's going on out here?
Well, Nook's scared because his eyelids are jammed and his old man's here. We need a live, was it a live rooster? We need a live rooster to take the curse off Jose's glove, and nobody seems to know what to get Millie or Jimmy for their wedding present. Is that about right?
That's right.
We're dealing with a lot of shit.
The movie starts with Crash being assigned to mentor young Nuke, and help him grow not only as a player, but as a person, which is quite the tall task. And safe to say they get off to a rocky start.
Good punch.
Considering they are on opposite ends of their careers, it's quite easy to see why. Crash has never had any major success in the big leagues, though being a good player in the minors. And when I say good, I mean on the verge of breaking the home run record good. And Nuke is just starting out. He hasn't achieved anything, but is already being held in high regard for all of his talent, except he's a major dickhead. As the movie progresses, the relationship changes from hatred into more of a mentor-student dynamic. Crash teaches Nuke some of the important lessons about not only baseball, but the importance about how you carry yourself. A perfect example of this is during one of the early games of the season, where Nuke is feeling quite confident. He continually calls off all the pitches that Crash wants and gets into an argument with him, saying, I want to do what I want, I get to throw the pitches I want. And as punishment, Crash tells the batter what's coming, and he ends up hitting the ball. Shout out Houston Astros one time. This teaches Nuke two things. One, that his heat isn't actually as impressive as he thinks it is, and two, that he needs to learn respect. He needs to learn to respect Crash and, by extension, all of his teammates. As the season continues, we see how their relationship impacts them both. Nuke starts to learn that his self and public image need to be changed if he's going to survive in the majors, as well as that he is actually a big dickhead. Crash begins to realize that this is the end of his time on the baseball field. Crash has been trying to fight Father Time and his declining abilities, but through Nuke, he realizes that he has to think about what happens next. What happens when he retires? What is he gonna do? This idea of accepting change is a theme throughout a lot of baseball movies. The game of baseball has been around forever and doesn't really change, but people are always in a constant state of change. So eventually there will come a time where you can no longer play baseball, and being able to handle that drastic change will make or break you. But learning to change and adapt and still be successful in whatever you do is not something that's just confined to baseball. It's become a core part of America's identity. Some would say it's the American dream.
I'm afraid I haven't been a very good host, old sport. You see, I'm Gatsby.
Well, you can't say the American dream without talking about Great Gatsby. Bull Durham actually draws a lot of parallels to The Great Gatsby. The stories are widely different and they're nowhere near the same genre or tone, but when thinking about the American dream, the classic example is The Great Gatsby. That book that you read all the Spark Notes for in high school, The Green Light, Chasing After Daisy, does that ring any bells? I know what you're probably thinking. Maybe I should have paid more attention in school. Trust me, I get it. But I digress. Both Bull Durham and The Great Gatsby paint a picture of the American dream. The Great Gatsby is the dream of post-war America, where you fought for your life in the war, you worked your ass through the jungle of the meat industry, and now it's your turn to be rich and successful. That is the American dream of the early 20th century, a life of luxury. Giant mansions with giant parties, all directed by Baz Luhrmann. The dream of being able to work hard and achieve whatever materialistic goals you desire. But if you've actually read The Great Gatsby, then you know that its conclusion on the American dream is that it's kind of dead. The green light will always be out of reach, and Gatsby dies trying to achieve it. These people will work their whole lives chasing after more and more, but it'll never be enough. Bull Durham, on the other hand, is the late 20th century version of the American dream. The dream of freedom. The dream of being able to make a living doing whatever it is you love. These players are playing minor league baseball and are living happy, comfortable lives. They get to own a house, they get the comfort of a thriving economy where people still liked the government. Bull Durham paints a picture of a more hopeful America, where no matter what changes or whatever twists and turns life will throw at them, these people will always land on their feet. But see, that was 40 years ago. For a lot of people, buying a house or making a living doing what they love is out of reach. So what exactly is the new American dream? What is my American dream? I spent a long time trying to finish this video because of this very question. But despite the movie taking place in the 1980s and being about minor league baseball, I believe my American dream is still there in Bull Durham. For me, it's not about career advancement or making tons of money or owning a big fancy house. Hell, it's not even about doing something I actually enjoy for work. It's love. Whether that be from a romantic partner or the love of your friends or your family. The most realistic 21st century American dream I can think of is being surrounded by people I care about and having those people care for me too. Kind of like a team, like a minor league baseball team.
Telling you now, they call me love and dad. I'll rock 'em, roll 'em all night long. I'm 60 minutes.
Shout out my dad one time for not only instilling a love of baseball, but, all sports, as well as being a great father. Anytime I watch baseball or anything baseball related, it makes me think of you. And I am eternally grateful to have bonded over something that will keep you in my life forever. You'll always be a part of me. I love you, Dad.